Hello friend and welcome to Slowest Sim Driving channel on YouTube. I'm Grandpa Goes Gaming and this is round 5 of our IDR Electric Endurance series. It's raining right now, but because of the pit stop rules, even if the weather changes, we're stuck with the tyres we're on. Current championship leader Tweetman is on pole alongside McFlurry, then it's Dr. Pepsi, our second place driver JohnBoy52, then Chimp Chaser and myself, and everyone's away. There's going to be a mixture here of wet tyres and intermediate tyres. I don't think anyone's going to gamble on slicks. Oh, Dr. Pepsi's been punted. And that's taken Tweetman off the track. Who was that? I think Chimp Chaser hit him. And incredibly, that put me into first very briefly, but I got the corner wrong. So now it's McFlurry up into the lead. But here comes John Boy, a driver we know is brutally fast in these cars. Tweetman's managed to recover to third place in all that confusion, and we're away, so we've got ourselves two groups. This is the first group of 4, and then Dr. Pepsi and Chimp Chaser towards the back. There's going to be a whole lot of energy saving going on in this race. Some drivers do it better than others. We're going to have a look and see who they are. It's a 29 lap race. All of these races are odd numbers, just to completely throw us with the strategies. You can't 50-50 these races, and there's not enough energy in the cars to even get halfway, so the drivers really have to lift and coast. And be careful with the throttle as Tweetman goes through on John Boy up in second place. John Boy's going to try and come back, I think. No way through there as Tweetman cuts off the apex, and that's that done. Tweetman is through. John Boy's not going to give up, but you know, Tweetman's not an easy man to pass. He's going very defensive at the moment. Just cruising through there, sitting on the apex, but back onto the straight. Tweetman uses a little extra power to get past McFlurry. He does like to control the pace of the race. I've seen that many times in the past. So at the end of lap 1, Tweetman leads from McFlurry and then John Boy, and we seem to have a race on our hands for the lead. I'm not going to count myself in that race for the lead because, well, I'm falling back. McFlurry dives to the inside on the hairpin. Got it stopped, but Tweetman drives around the outside, maintains that first place. He's doing everything he needs to right now to hold that position as John Boy goes for a move. He's going to look around the outside of McFlurry, but McFlurry is a little unsteady there, so I think John Boy just holds back for safety's sake. Very brave of John Boy there, going up on the curb, and I don't know if you can hear it, but it is raining very heavily right now. These cars certainly, I was going to say they're certainly doing well on grip, but McFlurry there goes off and manages to use it as advantage. John Boy goes around the outside of McFlurry. He is. We've seen many great battles between John Boy and Tweetman in this series. Haven't seen McFlurry up at the front much, but he's doing it right now. He's doing the work as he puts himself back behind Tweetman. McFlurry takes some very wide lines, some real liberties, which is a little dangerous in these conditions. And McFlurry and Tweetman going at it hammer and tongue right now. And Dr. Pepsi and Chimp Chaser a little way back. They can probably catch up if the front pack isn't too quick. But of course, anything could happen to any of the front pack drivers. So maybe there's a few places still to be gained yet. And I've used a little bit of energy there to get back onto the tail of John Boy. And we're going to go racing. It's a 4-way battle for the lead, and that's me giving it plenty. That could come back later on to haunt me, using up too much energy, but we'll wait and see. John Boy briefly into second. Tweetman there just coming back through, again wanting to just control the pace of this race, make sure he's sticking to his figures. McFlurry had a little bit of a cut penalty, so he's going to get a half-second penalty. Where is the penalty line on this track? I don't remember. I think on the main straight. But we'll catch up with that later. I don't know how much that's going to affect him. Then myself, and then John Boy in 4. The rain coming down much heavier right now, and I just want to say, I raced this series in VR, and these cars do not have windscreen wipers. So this is not an easy task. Let's hope the weather clears up soon. Otherwise I'm going to have to start sticking my head out the window to see where I'm going. But right now, John Boy getting dropped a little bit, but we saw in the previous race, John Boy dropped right off, and then he just came back at the end with lots of extra power. It's me back into the lead. That doesn't happen very often, and it doesn't happen very long either, because McFlurry takes the lead once more. And we've got a real battle on our hands down the straight. Who's going to use the most power? Who's going to sacrifice the most power? Got to think this is perhaps a short first stint for me using that extra power. And Tuitman goes through into second as McFlurry serves his penalty. John Boy there just hanging on in the background. Oh, a bit wide there for me, and that's me down to third, which is also my standing in the championship right now. So it's not been a terrible championship for me. These cars are a lot of fun to drive, but once you get stuck in a bad position, get stuck in traffic, or if you fall behind, it's very difficult to come back and save energy at the same time. As we see John Boy, they're going around the outside of McFlurry very bravely. And it looks like Dr. Pepsi is starting to catch the pack as well. Perhaps he's working with his scary teammate Tuitman, who's maybe backing the pack up, which could explain why he's so eager to be in first place. Maybe he's trying to bring Dr. Pepsi back into contention. Tuitman goes wide and I go wide following him. So that's not going to help us get away from John Boy. We're going to have a nice slipstream up the main straight on this lap. And again, out wide, the car not going where I want it to go at this stage in the race. Maybe that's tyre choice, maybe it isn't. I'm not going to tell you that. Let's find out during the pit stops. So is John Boy going to do his usual trick and just go up into second and sit in Tuitman's slipstream, saving energy? Let's find out on this straight. In fact, I'm pulling up to Tuitman as well to try and get some slipstream as protection from John Boy's car. Oh, there's some connection. Yeah, we connected. Myself and Tuitman connected, and that is my car around, tumbling down the order into last place. Well, that for me is yesterday's race run. So, oh well. Meanwhile, Tuitman and McFlurry battling it out through the first corner. John Boy right in there. Just in the background, Chimp Chaser. So Chimp Chaser, it seemed, pulled something out of the hat. I don't know what it was. McFlurry out a little wide there. Looked like he got the power down, and the car just didn't go the direction he wanted it to go. Chimp Chaser definitely using some extra energy to catch up to this group. Again, that could be a very short-term game, long-term loss sort of scenario, but we will, of course, keep our eye on him. If you run out of energy after you've made a pit stop, tough, you don't get another pit stop. Looks like Tuitman's wide there. He's very wide, in fact he's off. Tuitman goes down to third because John Boy blocks him out. And that's also going to put Tuitman under pressure very soon from behind with Chimp Chaser on a charge. Dr. Pepsi coming with him. So the rain catching Tuitman out there. I think Chimp Chaser just went off in the background. He did, so Chimp Chaser back down into fifth. All that extra energy he's just used, wasted. You need to be efficient in these cars. Here's a man who knows all about being efficient. John Boy lining McFlurry up, possibly for a turn one dive. But Tuitman's going to go for one. No, he's too far back. Can't make that happen. But still, if these three are fighting for the whole 29 laps, then I'm quite happy for that to happen. John Boy looking ever so much closer to McFlurry. There's got to be a pass around here somewhere. He's going to try and go around the outside. No, McFlurry just opens the steering a little bit, just cuts him off. Goes on his merry way. Right now, McFlurry in control of the pace of this race. And he's picked the pace up, it would seem, because John Boy's just on his on his fastest lap of the race so far. These cars, of course, don't get any lighter as the energy burns off, unless somebody's been weighing electrons. So I don't think that's a thing. But John Boy just desperately looking for way past McFlurry. McFlurry doing a great defensive drive, and this is playing into Tuitman's hands. You can just sit and wait. Did John Boy just sell McFlurry a dummy? Is he going for the inside? He can't get the inside because McFlurry's on that apex. And the rain still pouring. This track's still soaking wet. And in fact, that's going to make the drivers quite happy because as soon as the conditions change, the tyres become far less effective. Tweetman now is very, very close to the back of John Boy. He's been wanting to clear his championship rival. He's going for it up the inside. Sails on through. John Boy gives him plenty of space. No point in both having an accident. The Tweetman now is going to be very eager to get past McFlurry and back in to the position where he can control the pace, control how much energy he's using. As soon as you're having to catch up and overtake people, that's it, using more energy. The Tweetman goes through, McFlurry comes back underneath him. Great racing, lots of space given, lots of respect given. The Tweetman back through, and McFlurry's going to try and come through again. He does. Fantastic sequence of corners there for McFlurry and Tweetman now vulnerable to John Boy. He's going for the move again. Tweetman using some extra energy, and they're 3 wide as we go across the line. John Boy has done his maths and thinks this is his moment, and then thinks better of it. So John Boy there showing his teeth but not biting at this time. He's going to save some of that energy for later. And McFlurry there losing the back end, almost going to the side of Tweetman. Managed to keep it pointing in the right direction, so a good catch. Tweetman back into the lead, but he's overshot. He's outbraked himself, and John Boy and McFlurry both through. John Boy now going for the lead of this race. Up the inside of McFlurry, can't quite do it. And Tweetman comes back around the outside. This is fantastic stuff from these three. Look at this, 3 different lines into one corner. They're all doing their own thing. McFlurry still leads the race. John Boy can't find a way through right now because McFlurry and Tweetman were side by side. Bit of a nudge there from Tweetman, perhaps a hurry up, or perhaps just an accident. You know, these things happen. But right now, Tweetman doing his best to control the pace of the race without burning off too much energy, fighting McFlurry, who is very racy here at Fuji. And he's taking no prisoners right now. McFlurry looking for a win. Tweetman always looking for a win. And John Boy apparently always looking to beat Tweetman. But there we go. Change the lead again. Oh, John Boy's collected McFlurry. I'm not quite sure how that happened, but that is Christmas come early for Tweetman, who sails off into the lead. McFlurry is still in second because John Boy waited for him, but that puts Chimp Chaser right on John Boy. And look out, because Dr. Pepsi is not too far behind either. So all of a sudden, John Boy all at sea. He's got to go into full energy saving mode now, adjust his pit strategy, try to pit after Tweetman so that he can get a faster second stint as Chimp Chaser gets that last step of the podium in his sights. But John Boy's coming back at him. There's been so many position changes in this, probably more position changes than there have been in the entire series so far. And Dr. Pepsi is starting to feel that slipstream now from the car up ahead, Chimp Chaser. Dr. Pepsi coming back into it. Will Tweetman back off a little bit? There he is. He's done a 1:43.8, so we'll try and check in at the end of the lap, see just what sort of pace he's doing right now. But McFlurry, well, he's very lucky. He's lucky he wasn't spun out more by John Boy, because he could have been right at the back of the pack. McFlurry currently purple, so McFlurry's really motoring. John Boy doing his best to keep up. And it looks like Chimp Chaser's got Dr. Pepsi for company. Oh, Tweetman's off. He outbraked himself and went off, re-gifting McFlurry the lead of this race. So once again, McFlurry finds himself with an open road ahead and no rain. These cars quite clearly on wet weather tyres, be it intermediates or full wets. And right now there's no rain and they're not allowed to pit for tyres. They only pit once in this race and the weather could change once again. So I was going to check Tweetman's lap time, but of course he went off, so That's pretty academic. Where's Chip Chase? There he is in the spray. He was there somewhere. They come to the first corner. Tweetman dives through on John Boy. But here's Dr. Pepsi. Is Dr. Pepsi going to be racing with his teammate, or is he going to be helping him? Well, we'll find out if Dr. Pepsi can keep up. These cars, of course, using the DRS, you can see the wing there, opening and closing. Got to make the most of it in these wet conditions. Now, was Tweetman wide there, or is he now hunting for wet patches on the track to keep those tyres going, to keep them alive? John Boy certainly in the wet line there. So it looks like all the drivers, yeah, John Boy doing that again, so all the drivers now very much aware there is a dry line forming and they've got wet tyres, and these tyres will start to wear out very quickly. And there's still probably another 4 or 5 laps before ideally they should be pitting. Well, it's anybody's guess as to what's going to happen. But if they pit onto slicks and it rains again, they're all in trouble. McFlurry there hunting for some wet stuff. John Boy in second. Dr. Pepsi and Tweetman are indeed fighting by the look of this. So that's great to see. Chimp Chaser there not too far behind. Looks like McFlurry is starting to gap John Boy a little bit now. Here's the dive. Tweetman through on Dr. Pepsi. And he makes it to the apex. So Dr. Pepsi now relegated to 4th place. Pepsi's going for it. No. Thought better of it. Okay. No point tangling with your teammate. Fight by all means, but don't tangle. Speaking of tangling, John Boy now right behind McFlurry, still hunting for the wet line. All the drivers there looking very uncertain through that corner. What if John Boy's on inters, because he seems to be spending less time on the wet line than the other drivers. Perhaps they're on full wet. We're going to find out very soon. As this track's drying, the cars are going faster and faster. That means they're burning more energy, and that's a thought actually. If they've been driving on a wet track, the chances are they've all saved a lot of energy by not being as hard on the accelerator. Maybe what we're going to see is a much hotter Banzai kind of second stint as Tweetman goes underneath John Boy and Dr. Pepsi follows him through. Oh, that may have been coordinated by Tweetman and Dr. Pepsi, and if it was very well done. John Boy definitely starting to fall back a little bit, perhaps saving more energy. And look at those different lines. Is that McFlurry and Dr. Pepsi on full wets and Tweetman on inters? Because they took a very different approach to that corner. And if that's the case, the track's going to be coming to them very differently. Dr. Pepsi looks like he's harassing Tweetman somewhat, and he's going up the inside. Dr. Pepsi up into 2nd place. He's having a brilliant race, despite his slow start. Can't use too much energy up there. You don't want to pit before lap 14, because you're just going to be suffering for the rest of the race. Side by side, Tweetman up into 2nd. Dr. Pepsi back into 2nd. So they're definitely battling, no doubt about that. Tweetman alongside his teammate. McFlurry there diving onto the wet line. Is Tweetman going to make a move? No, he's not. Dr. Pepsi, where's McFlurry? He's there. McFlurry went out wide. McFlurry out very wide, and Dr. Pepsi slips into the lead of this race. What a comeback drive he's having. After that first lap shenanigans, McFlurry and Tweetman there making contact, and Tweetman came off much worse from that. And we can hear now in the background that the rain has started again. You can see the rain hitting the track. That's going to make the pit strategies very, very different, because, well, now they've got to figure that they're going to be changing tyres, but going onto a wet track and not knowing how long the rain's going to last. So There's a lot to think about. I'm not so sure about that Banzai second stint theory anymore, but it does mean the drivers are going to have more energy to play with than they would normally because of the slower pace of the race. Tweedman is all over McFlurry. McFlurry goes out wide. Did Tweedman just hit him? No, he didn't. It just looked like he did from that angle. Okay, so no problem there, but McFlurry out wide again. He's finding no grip as the dry line disappears. Tweedman. Oh, Tweedman's up to second. John Boy and McFlurry coming together. John Boy coming off the track briefly. McFlurry lets him go, because that's the kind of sportsmanship we like to see around here. Tweedman has a long gap to Dr. Pepsi, but I don't think I'll mind too much if his teammate wins. John Boy in third place. McFlurry with a slipstream on John Boy. Is he going to use it? He is. McFlurry trying to go to third, but John Boy just squirts a little bit more energy into that car, brakes a little bit later, and keeps that position. Pit stop in the background. Chimp Chaser there on full wets comes into the pits. So the reason for him having no grip must have been that his tyres were just burnt out from that dry line. But it's lap 15 now, so he's going to try 50-50 the race. I thought they'd save more energy than that, but I guess not. Tweedman out a little bit wide there. John Boy, is he going to use a little bit more energy and just get himself on the back of Tweedman's car? The pace certainly now slower than it was because of the heavy rain, and that squeal of tyres it was. Dr. Pepsi's put it in the wall. Oh no, disaster for the race leader. Tweedman, John Boy, McFlurry all go through, and Dr. Pepsi there struggling for grip. So Tweedman briefly retakes the lead, but John Boy's through. John Boy sees his chance to control the pace of this race, but he's out wide. The rain is just too much, and these cars are, well, they're all at sea, to use perhaps an apt expression. So lap 15, or the end of lap 15, Tweedman leads from John Boy, then McFlurry, who's diving into the pits, I think. Or is he just going to the wetter line? Where is he? McFlurry definitely into the pits. Tweedman and John Boy have saved so much energy. How are they so fast? It really is a massive challenge, this race, or this series in general. John Boy right on the back of Tweedman. Looking left, looking right, looking for a way through. John Boy tries to keep it tight to the apex. Tries to get a good exit. I think he's going to go for a move down here. Is he going to go to the right? He does. John Boy trying to take the inside line, but he's just not quite got the pace at this time. Saw Dr. Pepsi in the background there, so he's still almost with these two. Tweedman and John Boy definitely trying to outdo each other on how much energy they can save. It's the end of lap 16. Surely our leaders are going to pit now. No, they're not going to cross the pit lane. They're still going. Oh no, they both dive in. John Boy just slips into the lead as the two drivers just dive into the pit lane. Dr. Pepsi's going in as well. Worth noting here that Dr. Pepsi was on intermediate tyres, which would definitely explain why when the rain came down he crashed out of the lead. McFlurry on the main straight. Is he going to catch this front pack? He's been very fast the whole race. But even if McFlurry does catch the leaders, he's going to have less energy than them. Now Tweedman is out well ahead. And so is John Boy. About to see them. There they are. John Boy just getting to the first corner now. Hopefully these drivers will all come together. Here comes Dr. Pepsi just behind McFlurry. Oh, but he's overdone it in that corner. Dr. Pepsi down on grip. Then Chimp Chaser in fifth. Let's not talk about me because I'm miles away. But some very heavy rainfall now for good 4 or 5 laps. John Boy's caught up to Tweetman. So I wonder if perhaps Tweetman may have picked the wrong tyres for this race, or for this stint, rather. Or maybe he's just saving energy for a big banzai burst of speed toward the end, as he just jinks out the slipstream, sends it up the inside, under braking. Tweetman, absolute confidence in his car, and puts John Boy back behind him. But it looks like these two are going to be sending it now until the end of the race, and that is exactly what we want. Don't send it too much, Tweetman. Those curbs are slippery. John Boy looking for a way round. Can he get underneath? Maybe. But he's going to be on the outside of the next corner, and I think the rain may have just eased off a little. Of course, I may be wrong, as I often am. The two leaders go side by side, but it's John Boy who comes out in first. We're starting to run out of laps now. The driver's been racing for almost 38 minutes. Concentrating on fuel, concentrating on the weather. It's a very mentally taxing race. When I say fuel, I mean energy, of course. Tweetman goes back into the lead, but I think he's just overdone it there. John Boy goes side by side with him. A fantastic duel from our first and second place championship contenders. Tweetman just a little bit too much go-go juice there, and that puts John Boy back into the lead. And they're going to change places again. Of course, all of this is going to allow McFlurry to catch up as these two slow each other down. I don't think he's too far back. He isn't. He's on the main straight with them now. So, if Tweetman and John Boy come together, this race could be McFlurry's. John Boy once again tucked up tight behind Tweetman's car, both of them with their DRSs wide open, and McFlurry definitely catching in the background as these two fight. Oh, John Boy's off! John Boy's onto the grass, and that buys some time for Tweetman, and it helps out McFlurry. McFlurry now getting on to the back of John Boy's car, so a three-way battle once again developing for the lead with just 10 minutes to go. McFlurry right with John Boy. John Boy closing in on Tweetman. Well, there's definitely a race on. Oh no, it's not on, because John Boy just got a big penalty for a cut. I barely saw the cut. I thought he was within the track limits, but clearly he wasn't. So disaster for John Boy. He's going to have to rethink his strategy now if he wants to be competitive. That's going to mean using some extra energy and hoping for the best. But this is a gift for McFlurry. McFlurry now will be doing all he can to stay within 1 second of John Boy, or at least get close enough to have a slipstream after John Boy's taken his penalty. So penalty line approaching for John Boy. Is this going to be McFlurry's chance? Here we go. Slow down for John Boy. Surely McFlurry's through. He is. McFlurry takes second place. Only 8 minutes to go. McFlurry now finds himself gifted a position and some extra points as well. So McFlurry been a high, and he's not too far behind Tweetman. Don't know if Tweetman's saving energy or if he was just slow through there. But that really has bought time for McFlurry to mount a challenge for the win. The rain stopped, so anybody who picked Inters at their pit stop will be giving an advantage now. McFlurry seems to be struggling through there. John Boy's right on him. As we come onto the straight, McFlurry diving for the wet part of the track. I think there's a little bit of drizzle, but not enough to keep the track particularly wet. And John Boy surely now is going to go for that second place. Oh, here comes the rain again. You just can't predict it. The weather here throwing the race into absolute chaos. Certainly throwing the strategies into chaos. And John Boy not quite able to get back on John Boy, but John Boy not able to get back on McFlurry, but McFlurry seems to be getting close to Tweetman. Looks like these drivers are going for a grandstand finish, and why not? Give the fans what they want. John Boy sticking to that dry line. I wonder if he's on inters. That would explain his sudden increase in pace. McFlurry trying to stick to the wetter stuff, and Tweetman, well, who knows what he's doing. He's certainly leading the race, but not by much. McFlurry right with him. The team's got to keep his head down and concentrate because he's not got long to go. John Boy has to in the back of McFlurry's car. He needs McFlurry to go out wide a little bit like he just did, and that is John Boy into second. Oh, but a little bit of a boop there from behind from McFlurry. A little push to pass perhaps, but McFlurry retains second place. John Boy's going to get the slipstream though, up to the first corner. And I imagine the driver's not really saving that much energy now, because there's only, well, 3 more laps to drive. They're going to know how much they've got left, how much they're using. They'll be using it all. So once again the rain's stopped, just to confuse everybody and throw the race back into disarray. Tweetman starting to get a little bit of daylight now from McFlurry, but John Boy threatening to pass McFlurry and go for Tweetman, who's in the wet line. Is that rain again? The weather can't tell what it's doing. Craziness. Okay, John Boy tucked up behind McFlurry. McFlurry doing his best there to gently break in a straight line. Tweetman just keeping in front, just using as much energy as he's got to stay in front. It might be a case of he's driving conservatively and then squirting the power when he needs to defend from behind. McFlurry though may have a slipstream this time, but remember McFlurry I think pitted before these guys, so he's going to have less energy at this point, and that's going to leave him vulnerable potentially at the end of the race. Only 2 laps to go now as they cross the line to start lap 28, and these 3 have been at it the entire race. John Boy definitely threatening, but McFlurry threatening Tweetman. In fact, McFlurry was purple in the first sector, so he is trying to make his move to the front, trying to use what little energy he's got left. And Tweetman going defensive. McFlurry looks to the outside. There he is. He's even more purple than he was before. So McFlurry McFlying at the moment, looking to go around the outside of Tweetman. Can't find a way around there, and John Boy looking to take advantage of this. Tweetman possibly playing games here, since he'll have more energy than McFlurry, we assume. McFlurry out into the wet stuff, John Boy out into the wet stuff, trying to keep the tyres alive. Is Tweetman on inters? Well, as we go to start the final lap, it's Tweetman, McFlurry and John Boy, and you could throw a blanket over them. They're all so very close. John Boy was the fastest driver on that lap, so they're all using all their remaining energy. This is going to be a mad sprint to the finish line. Tweetman being hassled by McFlurry. John Boy looking forward to get underneath him, and Dr. Pepsi a little way back. But McFlurry goes for a move. He's using that extra power, trying to go on the outside. Tweetman cuts him off, trying to go on the outside again. But he's left the door open for John Boy. Be careful, you don't leave the door open for John Boy, because he will come through. And Tweetman under massive pressure right now. John Boy probably rubbing his hands together, hoping these two hit each other. Well, perhaps not rubbing his hands together, but John Boy gets them both in one corner. Tweetman there didn't get the line right. McFlurry was attacking him, and John Boy just sent it through. And as we come into the final sector, it is John Boy leading this race. Tweetman now moves into second, coming underneath McFlurry. Is it too late? Can he not do anything about John Boy now? I think he's being hassled so much by McFlurry that he just can't get back on terms with John Boy, who's going into the final corner now, and he'll squirt it to the finish line and use all that's left in the battery And after 29 laps, just over 50 minutes, it's going to be John Boy to the checkered flag with a fabulous victory. Tweeman second, McFlurry third. Wow, what a race they put on. Dr. Pepsi opens his DRS as he brings it home in 4th place. Here he comes. Chimp Chaser, most certainly 5th. But he's not particularly fast out of there. He's not run out of battery, has he? I think everybody's very, very low, certainly. Chimp Chaser slowing down, I think he's run out of battery. Chimp Chaser has called it slightly wrong and he loses 5th place. But it's John Boy who didn't lose anything. He won the race. Well done, John Boy. Called the strategy just right. Well, thank you very much for joining us today at a very wet Fuji Speedway for this race. It's been quite a corker. Congratulations to our race winner, John Boy. As you can see by the points table, it wasn't quite enough to put John Boy into the lead of the championship, but he's closed the gap. There's 4 races left, so this could be anybody's. Hope you'll stick around on this channel to find out who wins this series. And until next time, bye bye for now.